Brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, welcome to this broadcast. I'm Major Joseph Kirch, but my friends call me Tex, and it has been too long. First, let us have a moment of silence for those who have perished from these lands. Our problems are not their problems anymore. Secondly, let us offer a short prayer to those trapped in the chains of bondage. May liberation find them swiftly, and justice find their captors and give them what they deserve. Some of you have been wondering what became of me and the Firekeepers these last few weeks. You've contacted us, searched for us, wondered what our thoughts were, or where we were growing food to fill your hungry bellies. We have been healing. Our ongoing conflicts were inflicting a heavy toll, and the loss of Catherine, who was under our care and the path to recovery, was hard-hitting for many of us, especially myself. I have been gone longer and farther than the others. I began to have deep and curious dreams where my grandfather beckoned me. And like I did in the Deadlands, I climbed my way to the top of a great mountain. And there I spoke with grandfather. He taught me many important things. Things I'll need. Things some of you will need. And he helped me to hear the words of the Almighty, Kitche Manitou, God, so that I might serve him better. It's a long story, and to borrow a phrase from the infamous Agent Styles, you wouldn't believe me if I told you, so I won't. If you see me in person and wish to know more, I will gladly speak of it around a nice hot fire. Now, I come back to a great deal of upheaval. Duty and Brotherhood have declared war on the Black Paw, and all those that would trade with them, offer them food and drink, or fraternize with them. Those not put directly in the conflict have begun to line up on sides, so much so that a third side has emerged. Those not involved but ready to do so should either of these sides go too far. Since I've returned, those of you who are aware that I have returned have been curious and have told me that they need to hear what I have to say about these proceedings. Ironically, even though there has been a great deal of talking on the radio, I think our real problem here is one of silence. Too many of the right people have been silent about the wrong things, and it has bred only distrust, fear, and paranoia. So I'm going to break some silence here and encourage all parties to do the same. I'm not special. I'm not better or purer or more holy than anyone I speak to now. I recently harbored a former cultist in secret. I confessed, explained my reasons for doing so, and each and every one of you are free to put any amount of stock in that you like. But regardless, I am still a wretched sinner, same as the rest of you. Brotherhood and Duty are hard, mission-focused men. They fight evils that few, if any, of us others are willing to. They are callous. They do not feel your comfort or approval are required for them to do their jobs. Their lack of effort in humanizing themselves or their actions have made them appear to be cold-blooded. Despite obviously wanting to have the benefit of the doubt from people that their intentions are pure, even if their methods are not, their own demeanor undermines trust in their organizations. This distrust turns to paranoia when coupled with the fact that they frequently condemn the secrecy of other groups while arguing that their own secrecy is necessary and above suspicion. Many people have questions about the Brotherhood and Duty's actions, including, but not limited to, meeting with Casimir the Forsaken and letting him leave unscathed. Many people have posited that there was a sinister deal made. I myself have heard from a purported observer that they made a deal with Casimir to allow him to reform the cult with him at its head so that he could bring in a quieter, friendlier version of the cult that Brotherhood and Duty would control. I have known the Brotherhood and Duty for a while, as long as anyone else here, and longer than most. They would never make a deal with the cult. They would never try to dispel evil by replacing it with a lesser evil that answered to themselves. In my heart of hearts, despite my fears that they would justify such means with the ends they are intending, I know making a deal with the devil isn't who they are. That being said, I understand why the rest of you have questions, and I know that as soon as the Brotherhood and Duty release the body cam footage of their encounters with Casimir, we can dispel all of this ugly distrust and paranoia. These groups almost always utilize body cams, particularly in meetings, sensitive operations, and when dealing with the cult. This body cam footage will no doubt show us clearly that the Brotherhood and Duty have been unfairly painted as hypocrites and extremists. And once we all seen that there is nothing suspicious about what happened, we can move forward together building trust. The Black Paw may have everything they are experiencing now coming to them. The Black Paw, as an organization that has had many different members in its time and has gone through several rebirths, have in the past, and many will say now, killed for little to no reason. Sometimes because they were bored, sometimes because it was profitable. They have shown a great deal of disregard for the value of human life. They have cloaked themselves in darkness and secrecy. They admit to taking contracts for murder. Some of them are militant anarchists that will violently oppose the return of a proper civilization. They will do this because they are predators, and society protects prey from being preyed upon. This is a deadly, dangerous philosophy that might makes right, that if I am strong enough to force my will upon you, then you deserve to be my victim. When they were threatened by the Gilligan gang, they folded, joining their murderous rampages, killing my allies who joined our fight with the Gilligans, rather than join our alliance against a common enemy. They told me they had a plan, and that they were biding their time to strike the Gilligans down once and for all, but that was a small comfort to those they killed at the Gilligans' side. However, they are not monsters. Indeed, the Black Paw has been instrumental in a great many occurrences in our modern history. It was they who broke Sacha free enough from his conditioning that he was able to try to leave the cult and thus provide us with intel that helped save lives and helped us fight them successfully. Black Paw joined us in our campaign against the cult, putting their own lives on the line, and joined in on efforts to locate those missing after the battle. As many people as the Brotherhood and Duty could pull forward who can accuse the Black Paw of preying on someone, another person could be brought forward who can speak to the Black Paw's virtues, to their generosity and to their compassion for those wrote off by those who call themselves heroes. Like the Brotherhood and Duty, their silence on certain topics has caused paranoia to spin yarns of intrigue. It is spoken around the fires that the Black Paw seeks Shadow Dancer, a prisoner of Duty. They have tried to capture her from Duty, the supposed purpose of their recent incursions. Some whisper that they want to do her harm for a perceived betrayal. Others say they consider her a wayward sister in need of deliverance from her captors. Still others say she has vital intelligence that the Black Paw can fetch a fine price for. Here is what I know. Charlie is in charge of the Black Paw, and Charlie is a man who has honor. He is no mad dog. He has conviction and a sense of fairness and responsibility. And I believe in my heart of hearts that he would never want or authorize real harm to come to Shadow. That being said, I can see why the rest of you might have questions. That's why I know that as soon as Charlie and Blackpaw addresses clearly why they've been incurring against duty and brotherhood, we can move forward toward potential solutions to this conflict that aren't open warfare. If it is because they have Shadow, then they should say that, and what it is exactly that they want with Shadow. By dispelling the darkness around their reasons for being involved in this fight, Blackpaw can easily show us that we, and Duty and the Brotherhood, have nothing to fear. And speaking of Shadow, by Ender's own words, she is a prisoner of sorts. He always liked to dance around the issue of exactly how and why and under what threats Shadow was being held. And it is to my great shame that I didn't try to put a stop to this farce at the Guardian barbecue. The minute that Ender stepped out claiming to have brought Shadow as his prisoner, I should have stood up and said that this was not acceptable. I should have looked around to all of you that were attending with me, and I should have asked you to help me set this woman, who has helped so many of us, to be free. I did not, because I was angry. I had felt betrayed by Shadow Dancer and abandoned, and so at first I said nothing. And then I tried to find a way to secure her freedom without making a stand for it. And now, months have gone by with Shadow in their custody. During that time, Ender's tune has changed. Now, she is free to leave whenever she wishes, according to them. I managed to speak to her in the midst of these claims, and she told me, my hand to God, that she didn't feel that she could leave. She felt she would be harmed or killed, and that she was only cooperating with Duty to make the best of a bad situation. Since that time, the argument has come up several times on the radio, and Ender has participated in many of these discussions, and has claimed she is not really their prisoner. But what he has not done is allowed Shadow to get on the radio and speak for herself. Shadow, by Ender's choice or by her own, has remained silent except for in private conversations. This has continued the confusion so many of us have felt about this situation. They see her, not indicating outwardly in any way concern about her predicament, seemingly enjoying herself while out on patrol with Duty. I know Shadow very well. Given how much leeway they've given her so far, and how fast she is, and how capable she is, it is unlikely that Duty could hold her. She should be able to escape them. I know that she could if she put her mind to it. Which tells me that for whatever reason, she seems to think that Ender and Duty are the gatekeepers to her redemption. That whatever they are offering her, which in this case seems to be making her responsible for the sins of others, because she didn't stop them herself, is something that resonates with her. She must feel she needs to kill at Ender's command in order to earn her way back to something. I don't know what, considering Ender has stated before that he doesn't believe in forgiveness. Perhaps she feels she needs to suffer to make things right. Perhaps she picked up more from Sacha in that way than we would have guessed. Suffice to say, I'm quite certain at this point that Shadow wants to be with Duty. But I can see why many of you still have questions. I do know, however, that as soon as Shadow addresses this issue herself, it will put our doubts to bed. If she is free to leave and is choosing to stay with Duty, it will be a simple thing for her to get on the radio and address that. Surely Ender will not stop her from speaking her mind on the subject, and surely she would not refuse this opportunity to set the record straight about her situation. She can let us know once and for all where she stands. Is she a prisoner who fears for her life, as she's told me, and as many say now? Or is she choosing to stay with duty, and not really their prisoner at all? You've all remained silent. You've all refused to dispel rumors, refused to set the record straight on a great many things, refused to lay the fears of the people to rest. Now is the time to step up and step forward and let the truth be known about your intentions and your situations. The Firekeepers recognize that there are reasons that these groups are fighting, but also recognize that now it is not our fight. Both sides have been friends to us in their own ways and times, and have also betrayed us in their own ways and times. We pray that this ends soon and with the least lives lost possible. All this silence, all these unanswered questions, lingering in the air like unwelcome guests. They are filling our hearts with paranoia, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, and it is tearing us apart. Brotherhood, duty, Black Paw, Shadow Dancer, South Zagoria awaits you to break the silence. Good night, and go with God.